There are reports of massive landslides and flash floods which have left a trail of death and destruction in its wake. Just in the Shimla and Mandi districts alone, we're given to understand that over 50 people have died in the last 48 hours. And the death toll in Himachal Pradesh over the last 2-3 months or so, from the month of June, has been in excess of 200. So clearly, there is a massive problem in the hill states, Himachal Pradesh as well as Uttarakhand. Rescue operations are on. There is deployment of both state as well as central disaster relief forces. The Indian Army columns have also been pressed into service. They are also working along with the state teams there, the quick recovery teams as well. And all of this has been made available to try and rescue people who are still believed to be stranded in places like Shimla and Mandi. There is extensive damage to property as well. Over 600 roads have been completely blocked or damaged, including the key Shimla-Chandigarh highway and also the Shimla-Mandi highway. All right, I want to go across to Bharti Chaturvedi. She's an environmentalist who's now joining us. So one of the key concerns has been that it's not like there were no rains in the past. It's not like there were no landslides in the past. But the severity of the weather phenomena as well as its impact, particularly this time around, has been much more damaging. Why is that the case?
I think basically it's very clear why that's the case. Because the Himalayas have been really badly treated, firstly. We've just built with these hydro dams where we want. Tourism has been really poorly developed with no environmental consideration. We've built highways where we like. And the Himalayas are one of the world's newest mountain range. So they're inherently very unstable. And we've kind of exacerbated that. And unfortunately for us, we are also finding the crisis of basically climate change. So climate change is, you can blame it, but you really have to blame yourself much more.
But Bharti Chaturvedi, one of the other questions that's also being asked is, these states, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, their main source of revenue, one of their mainstay in terms of the economy is tourism. And for tourism, you need highways, you need better connectivity, you need hotel and resort stays, etc. That's how you attract tourists. How does one balance out both? Because you need the economic progress as well that tourism brings with it, because there are very few other avenues of employment or revenue generation. And yet at the same time, this rampant sort of construction of highways, houses, resorts, hotels, etc., is also leading to problems like this, loosening of the soil, and then, these kind of severe landslides that we are seeing. How does one draw that balance, though?
Well, firstly, by using a little bit of engineering and science, because a lot of this has been constructed in places where none of this should have happened. The roads have been broadened, they shouldn't have. And we need to understand that we firstly need another model of tourism. But more importantly, we really have to, even get political will to follow science. You just can't make roads where you want. You just can't broaden them because people have SUVs and they're willing to pay, to drive in and pay tolls and pay to live in hotels. So I think we've really compromised on our engineering despite having the world's best engineers, and we've compromised on scientific ways of working. And if we don't bring that back, we're going to really, it's no point saying tourism matters for the economy because it's not being able to serve the people as we're seeing. You've looked at those horrific videos and people are losing every single thing they ever owned. Housing, building, assets, everything, lives, of course. So we really have to rethink science, I think. And
one final word, and very quickly at that, much of these infrastructure projects, the roads, the highways, the hydroelectric projects, the hotels and resorts, much of this has already been built. The question now is, how do you regulate it? Right? Again, I'm very sure that by next summer, you will have the same drove of tourists back in the hills.
So first of all, I think the first thing is that you just have to put a complete stop to, I first want to say that I don't think tourist lodges are in the same category as dams. So that's a completely different category. There's a whole the history of India has been about worshipping these dams, and I think that doesn't work. And science is showing us, and nature is showing us that. Having said that, I think we will have to look at a moratorium on dams. We will have to look at what we're going to do because this is not going to change, because as glaciers recede from the Himalayas, they're going to lose. Glaciers are a lot of snow and ice, but there's also a lot of stone, and this comes down anyway under all that pressure. So you will have that loose stone and stuff, and it is available for causing massive damage
Okay.
continuously. And so we need to know that we need to get better warning systems. We need to see how we can redo and rebuild and remove what is completely unstable. And I think we really need to get more people's opinions on this. Because if
All right.
something's on the edge of a mountain edge, it needs to be undone and given somewhere else. There have to be some steps in the public good.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, Bharti Chaturvedi. Many thanks for joining us and putting that issue into perspective. But some of those videos that we've seen from Himachal Pradesh of buildings just completely collapsing like a pack of cards, it's heart-wrenching. And we sent our colleague Yash to some of these worst affected parts of Himachal Pradesh, Shimla, Mandi, etc. And what he found there was, like I said, it's absolutely heart-wrenching. Our heart goes out to those people there, the locals who have suffered immense damage. Maybe we'll learn from the mistakes of the past and bring in some form of regulation to man-made construction, whether it's roads and highways and hydroelectric projects, and also these private constructions that have mushroomed, resorts, homestays, hotels, etc. Our thoughts and prayers with the people of Himachal Pradesh. These are ground reports filed by my colleagues. Thank you for tuning in.
Landslide which was reported from Shimla's Krishnanagar area has claimed 2 lives. This information has been given to us by the officers on ground who are working continuously to carry out rescue operations. And I'm coming to you, in fact, from that very site where those houses collapsed yesterday around 4 to 5 p.m. in the evening. All you can see around this very space is just destruction, debris, and in fact the broken homes which actually collapsed during that very landslide. This is the debris of around 5 to 6 homes which actually collapsed on the evening of yesterday, when in fact those places were actually emptied by the authorities, because earlier only they were fearing that there could be something like this, and that is the reason why this entire area was emptied by the authorities. Looking at the debris over here, looking at the kind of destruction which has been done due to this landslide is very humongous. You can see these entire homes of concrete. These are not, mind you, these are not wooden homes, or these are not makeshift shelters or homes. These are proper concrete homes which were washed away by, which was actually which were collapsed because of the landslide. You can see how the debris of those very homes has gone from that very top side to this very end, and you can see how cars have also been destroyed in this very case. You can see only here a car has fallen down off this very cliff, and in fact this is the story from Krishnanagar right now. In fact, a lot of lives being affected, and in fact the NDRF officials have confirmed to CNN News 18 that 2 lives have been lost in this case. Shimla, one of the most visited tourist spots across the country, and perhaps one of the most loved ones as well, is facing an unprecedented crisis in its history, where the state is reeling under heavy floods, flash floods, and in fact heavy rains as well. It's very important to understand the aftermath and the after effects of the floods as well. We talked about how the floods claimed many lives, but it is also very important to understand as to how the people of the state are actually bearing the brunt of this entire situation? Is it just the floods which is causing their lives to be miserable, or is it something else? Well, it's a tourist state where a lot of economics depends and economy depends upon the tourism sector. बाढ़ की वजह से आपके बिजनेस पे क्या इफेक्ट पड़ा इस चीज का? मतलब कम ज्यादा वैसा ही क्या?
बहुत कम, क्योंकि टूरिस्ट नहीं आ रहा है, क्योंकि बाहर के वजह से टूरिस्ट बाहर से भी नहीं आ रहा है, तो हमारे लिए बहुत फर्क पड़ रहा है।
बहुत फर्क पड़ा है। अच्छा बाबू जी, आप एक बात और बता रहे थे कि जैसे आपकी एक मैं थोड़ा शौक था ये सुन के कि जितनी भी प्राइम्स आप चला रहे हैं सब लाइसेंस्ड भी हैं, मतलब सरकार के अधीन रह के आप सब ये काम कर रहे हैं। तो आपकी अगर अच्छा आपके कार्ड भी बने हुए हैं, अगर अच्छा बिल्कुल पूरा एकदम सब चीजें मतलब उस हिसाब से चल रही है, सिस्टम के हिसाब से चल रही हैं। मेरे को एक बात बताइए, नॉर्मल समय पे जब टूरिस्ट होते थे कितना कमा लेते थे और अब कितना कमा पा रहे हैं?
नॉर्मल तो सर ऐसा है जो नॉर्मल समय पे कमा लेते 3,000 कमा लेते महीने का।
3,000
नॉर्मल पे अभी तो सर रोटी के भी लाले पड़े हुए,
रोटी के भी लाले पड़े हुए,
गुजारा भी नहीं हो रहा। ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, आज तक हमने ऐसा समय देखा नहीं, कभी नहीं। हमारी इतनी उम्र हो गई, आज तक हमें शिमला में ऐसा समय दिखा।
कितने समय से शिमला में आप?
हम हमारे को हो गए सर 20 साल, और इस लाइसेंस बढ़ के हो गया हमारे को 10 साल, जब लाइसेंस बने हमारे ये फ्रेम के
जी। अच्छा आप बताइए, मैं काफी चीजें समझा कि मतलब पूरा प्रॉपर ऑर्गेनाइज्ड बिजनेस है, सब चीजें हैं। अभी जो है वो बाबूजी बोल रहे हैं कि रोटी खाने की भी दिक्कत है, इतनी तकलीफ है।
ये तो असलियत है सर, समय ऐसा इस वक्त बारिश नहीं रुक रही है, बाहर से कस्टमर भी कैसे आएगा, रोड भी सारे ब्लॉक हैं, तो अब
लोगों को डर लग रहा है।
अब इस वजह से हमारा बिजनेस भी रुक गया है, और कमाई कुमाई का तो धंधा छोड़ो। तो ये है कि भाई 100-200 तो बनता तब भी अच्छा था, 100-200 में भी नहीं बन रहा।
अब 100-200 रुपया भी नहीं बन रहा है, तो कैसे गुजर बसर कर रहे हैं?
अब जो कमाएगा सर वो खा रहे हैं।
Food is something which is quintessential to every tourist who visits any place or anywhere we go. I am at Mall Road and this is Ajay Dhaba, and the owner is with me to talk about the dynamics and how their business is performing. Ajay जी, ऐसा कभी हालात पहले कभी देखे आपने?
देखो जी, हमारे ज़िंदगी में इतने साल हो गए, मैं 56 साल का हो गया, तो 10-15 दिन भी बारिश होती थी, पर जिस हिसाब से इस बारी जो हुआ नुकसान, ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ ज़िंदगी में। बहुत सारे लैंडस्लाइड, बिल्डिंगें गिर गई, सारे रास्ते बंद हैं। तकरीबन इस टाइम ऑल ओवर शिमला में कोई भी पैदल चलने का रास्ता भी ठीक नहीं है, गाड़ियों का तो तकरीबन बंद है, पैदल भी नहीं चल सकते हैं लोग, तो इतनी बुरी हाल है। और हमारे भी काम पे बहुत असर पड़ा है, क्योंकि टूरिस्ट आते हैं, तो टूरिस्ट से बिना हमारे को काम नहीं है। लोकल लोग तो अपना घर से खा पी के आते हैं, तो मेरे पास भी 2-3 एम्प्लॉइज़ है, उनका भी खर्चा यहीं से कर रहा हूँ, सब कुछ खाना भी उनका चल रहा है, अपना भी, तो उतना ज़्यादा काम नहीं है।
आसान भाषा में जैसे अगर किसी को समझाई जाए बात, अगर आज से जब अच्छे साल में अगर आप 100 रुपए का धंधा करते थे या 100 रुपए का काम होता तो आप कितने का काम हो रहा है?
मतलब इस टाइम जो है तो कोई 10-15% काम है सारा ही।
100% पहले 100 का होता तो तब 10 या 15 रुपए का काम?
15 रुपए का काम है, उनको काम नहीं है खास कुछ भी। हमारा अपने परिवार का भी खर्चा पूरा नहीं हो पा रहा है, कुछ भी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो ऐसा ही चला हुआ है सबके साथ। जो हमारे इन नौकर बेचारे, इनको भी हमने अभी तनख्वाह नहीं दिया, 1 महीने की रोक रखी है, तो आगे जैसे होगा थोड़ा थोड़ा इनको खर्चा दे रहा हूँ।
This is the place where tourism is the prime earning source of these people. Yes, the conditions are bettering, but still there is a long way to go, because as of now many roads are blocked and tourists are largely not visiting. They're paying their visit to Shimla. I have the manager of one of the very prominent hotels here in Shimla, the manager Mr. Sanjay sir. Sanjay ji, thank you so much for speaking to CNN News 18. सबसे पहले मैं ये समझना चाहूँगा, पहले कोविड आया, कोविड के बाद लोगों को समय लगा कोविड से उभरने में, फिर उसके बाद टूरिज्म सेक्टर धीरे धीरे खुलने लगा, अब अचानक से शिमला में फिर ये सब बाढ़ देखी जा रही है, लैंडस्लाइड देखी जा रही है। किस तरह का इम्पैक्ट पड़ रहा है आपकी होटल बिजनेस में?
इसका तो बहुत ही बैड इम्पैक्ट पड़ रहा है सर। होटल टूरिज्म तो बिल्कुल नील के बराबर है, 0 ऑक्यूपेंसी, अभी ना कुछ भी काम नहीं है। कोविड के बाद वैसे ही रिकवरी हो रही थी, पर अब ये इसके रेन के कारण बहुत ही बैड इम्पैक्ट है इस चीज़ का, तो क्योंकि आपको रोड की कंडीशन पता ही है, रोड वगैरह बिल्कुल टूट गया है, तो इसमें टाइम बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा। तो अब मुझे तो नहीं लगता कि 2-3 महीने वैसे ही वेट करना पड़ेगा अभी हमें।
तो इस सब से क्या इफेक्ट पड़ रहा है, क्योंकि आपका बड़ा होटल है, बहुत सारे लोग स्टाफ भी होंगे, मजबूरी में आके क्या निकालना भी पड़ रहा है कुछ लोगों को?
नहीं, ऐसा तो चलो कोई डिसीजन नहीं है मैनेजमेंट का, पर एक्सपेंसेस तो आप समझ ही सकते हो, एक्सपेंसेस होटल के डेली बेसिस पे भी नहीं कवर हो रहे।
क्या कुछ ऐसा कुछ चाहेंगे कि सरकार की तरफ से मदद मिले?
ये तो डेफिनेटली रिबेट, उसमें टैक्स वगैरह में रिबेट कर दे, कोई और चीज़ एक्सपेंसेस जो भी गवर्नमेंट से रिलेटेड कर सकते हो, डेफिनेटली हम चाहेंगे और इसके रिगार्डिंग बात भी करेंगे।
As per 2019 data, Himachal Pradesh earned 11,000 crore rupees via tourism sector. And in fact, it accounts for 7.5% of the entire state GDP. So you can just imagine how the larger workforce is dependent upon tourism as their major part of earning. And after talking to various stakeholders, be it hotel owners, be it restaurant owners, or the people who run small rental businesses here in Shimla, they say their future hangs in balance. In fact, they're still struggling to make their end meets because first COVID, then there was an unease in the economy and in particular in the tourism sector because of COVID. And now the state has been struck with a calamity of one of its kind. Right now, they just hope for a better future, and their hope actually rests in the government so that their future could return back to normal. This is Yash Goel with video journalist Rama Shankar for CNN News 18 here in Shimla.